It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
And welcome, brothers, sisters, working class heroes. This is the Rick Smith Show. Thanks so much for being here today on the big program. Lots to get to, lots to talk about. Space Day. Yes, today it's all about a rich guy going to space. It's all about a rich guy and his toys. It's all about a rich guy spending his money. And look, his money, they say. It's his money. You should be able to do what he wants. You shouldn't be upset about that. We should celebrate the fact that we got three rich guys who are competing to see who can get their phallic symbol into the sky as high and as far as possible. That's what we're supposed to do. And look, you had a bunch of people who were thrilled about it. Because look, I love things going to space. Want to go myself. Would love to be able to do it at some point. Never going to be able to afford a ticket. Not going to happen. But today it was all about the rich guy going to space. He was very happy. Had a very nice conversation about how happy he was. Yeah. So that was the news. And it's just one of those things that just I'm looking at it just in this most angry of tones and thoughts. But I'll be honest, my first thought was he's going to space for 10 minutes. And I think it was 10 minutes and 10 seconds is how long he spent in orbit. So the whole ride, gazillions of, who knows how much it cost. 10 minutes, 10 seconds. And my first thought was, I wonder if the Amazon employees get to go to the bathroom now. I wonder if, I wonder if Amazon gave them a break so that they could watch Dear Leader go into space. So my mind is going in all these places. Did they get to partake in it? Because after all, and again, this is one of those weird kind of moments where you go, well, after all, the good workers, they did pay for this after all. It was their blood, sweat, and tears. And in fact, even Dear Leader himself, the gall to well.
And then I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all of this. So seriously, for every Amazon customer out there and every Amazon employee, thank you from the bottom of my heart very much.
Yeah, from the bottom of his heart. Now, you stop and think about this. He's right. He was a moment of candor, a moment of honesty, the lower wages, the diminished benefits, the constant high-stress work environment, the lack of retirement security, down the list. It did. Paid for it. Paid for all of it. You could also go into the fact that we have a tax code that decided that massive tax breaks for people like Jeff Bezos are more important than, paving our roads and fixing our bridges and educating our children and getting health care for our citizens, and all down the list. And it was one of these just kind of moments where I couldn't help but be kind of angry. And this is one of those things, and I had someone go, well, you're just jealous because, he was able to do this. I go, no, it's not jealousy. This is someone who could literally, because of the power that he has, save humanity. He could have that legacy. And instead, the only legacy he's going to have is the rich guy with toys. Where him and Branson and Musk are playing with their rockets. And you go, but it's a good thing, because we need to do other things. We need to explore space. How about we fix here? How about we take some of that resource and that engineering know-how and some of that power and figure out how we save this planet? Just kind of a thought. Now, Jim Sciutto, the reporter, tweeted out, "What's better than a rocket countdown?" And, I look at that and I go, nothing. Look, I love the fact that we're shooting stuff into space. The environment be damned. Because maybe someday, in a couple hundred years, we'll figure out how to colonize the moon or Mars, or we'll figure out a use for it. Maybe in a couple hundred years. But not now. And the thing that was interesting to me is everyone was like, he's just trying to figure out how to escape. I'm going, no, I don't see that. He's not trying to escape the planet, because living on the space station, reading some of the accounts of what it takes to live in the space station, nobody wants to do that for a long period of time. That's not escape. That's prison. That's a constant regiment of all kinds of eating habits and bathroom habits, and there's nothing fun for a long period of time in that. So they're not escaping. This is just because they can. And to Shudo's point, what's better than a rocket countdown? How about a pay raise for the workers there at Amazon, for the people who he admitted paid for the event? How about some dignity and respect outside of, oh, hey, thank you. I mean, I wish someone would just walked up to him and slapped him right there. Because that's just, I don't know, to me, just obnoxious. So then you go down the list of what is better than a rocket countdown. How about decent health security? How about a decent pension? How about opportunities? How about education? How about kids not having to go into debt for a lifetime? Because we've decided that one guy should have, gazillions of dollars that he can, play with his rockets and buy giant, enormous yachts that, $500 million. Now, how about we talk about things like safe working conditions? Because all we did today, all we saw in the media today was how incredible Jeff Bezos' 10 minutes into space was. Not one story about the strikes that are going on across this country. Not one story about the struggling families that are worried about paying their rent. Not one story about how the $250 child tax money that's coming out is helping families to put food on the table. None of that stuff, because none of that's important. We need the shiny thing. We need something to distract us. And understand, we've got 3 rich guys because of our tax code. Because of supply-side voodoo Reaganomics, a Republican Party hell-bent on starving the beast, making government so small we can drag it in the bathtub and drown it in the bathtub, so that these handful of, very wealthy people can now play with their toys. And we pay for it. Again, through lower wages, less health care, less retirement security, diminished opportunities, higher costs for education. Go down the list. We pay for all this stuff. And yet we're never going to get to be able to ride on these ships. They're like, oh, well, the Bezos' ticket was really cheap. It was only $28 million. It's crazy. And yet, I don't think I saw enough outrage. There was some on Twitter, people were upset saying, look, we've got starving kids. We've got things that we need better. We need better opportunities. We need all kinds of stuff. And look, I woke up this morning knowing this was going to happen. I woke up this morning and basically asked, who's ready for the love fest that's coming? Who's ready to hear about how wonderful Jeff Bezos is and how fantastic that he is, that he took the oldest person into space and the youngest person? Because we got to do that stuff now. Not the most qualified. So what was this today? Other than a vanity moment. Hey, look what I can do. Was there anything that came out of this? Was there any scientific research? Were there any experts, taking, some bits of air? Or was there anything positive? Other than, hey, we can do it, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it multiple times. And you go, for what purpose? Oh, we're just going to go back and forth. Dumb. And I had a couple people say, well, it's his money. He can do what he wants with it. And I agree with that to a degree. Once you start paying your taxes, and this is a guy who pays lower rates of taxes than most average working people. There is something wrong with that. Fundamentally wrong with that. The kind of outweighed power that these handful of gazillionaires have is not good for democracy. Now, I know we all like to believe that we're going to be the next Jeff Bezos. We're going to go and we're going to tinker in our garage and we're going to come up with the next who knows what machine, and it's going to revolutionize whatever, and we're all going to be gazillionaires. I know we feel that way. I like to believe someday I'm gonna be rich too, and then I can pay the 95% tax rate that the wealthy had to pay back during World War II. And be proud of it. And that's the weird thing. This is the weird time that which we live in. Someone said today, Ronald Reagan was a great man. He brought down the Soviet Union. He brought down communism. He single-handedly. I'm going, no, he spent them into disaster. We basically ran ourselves into massive debt so that the Soviet Union would spend a ton of money on weapons. And it was who's going to collapse first. And it just happened to be the Soviet Union was involved in Afghanistan for a gazillion years. And they were spending more money on bullets and bombs than they were on guns and butter, and absolutely, they end up falling. And you go, think about where we are. I mean, this is one of those moments where, was this the nation's wealth best spent? And I say Jeff Bezos was a billionaire made on a great crime. Behind every good billionaire, there's a crime, and I believe that. And Bezos's crime was he figured out how to cheat states out of taxes. That's what gave him the competitive edge, and for years got away with not paying state taxes, and lobbied to keep it that way. And still, in a lot of places, it's like that. And here we are in this moment where we can't get an infrastructure bill passed through. Because one side's saying, well, we're broke. We don't have any money. And you know why we don't have any money? Because that side has spent all of their years figuring out how to make the next Jeff Bezos, the next handful of them, at the expense of the working people who did the work. I mean, the fact that Bezos actually had the audacity to thank his workers. Thank you, workers. Thank you, peons. Thank you, dimwits. Thank you for the lower wages that you were willing to accept. And thank you for the less health care. And thank you for being able to be exploited and stressed into working 10, 12, 14 hours. Thank you for not taking breaks. Thank you for all of that.
And then I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all of this.
You paid for it all. And you're going to pay for what's coming next. And what's coming after that, and what's coming after that. And you know what? You're going to get nothing out of it. And that's the sad part, because look, you could argue, but Rick, when we sent the man up to the moon back in the 60s, you could have made the same argument that we were wasting, government resources, we were wasting dollars that we could have spent on poverty programs and all the things that you're talking about. And you're right. We could have, but out of that space program came just unimaginable research and new products and all kinds of stuff. What did today really get us? As a nation, if you're talking about an investment, what did this get us? Did this move us closer to understanding space? Did this get us any closer to doing anything constructive other than just feeding an ego? I don't know, man. Is this the right thing? Am I on the wrong track? Is this something we want to encourage? Are we waiting for the next the next billionaire to go, no, we're going to take a couple of people up and we're going to make a big deal, and the news is going to be all gaga and give us all kind of fluff pieces and all kind of all accolades and how wonderful and how smart and how good we are. Is that what we need? Look, I love the idea of rallying around a space program. When they put the rover up on Mars, I'm like, this is incredible because that's scientific. We're trying to figure something out. This was just, again, I go back to just for vanity. This was just because, hey, look what I can do. I am going to put my name into the record books. But sadly, the other billionaire beat him there. Richard Branson got there first. No flag to stake in the ground, sadly, because they didn't actually get out. They just went up and came back down. And couldn't we have used that for a better purpose? Couldn't we have used the resources in a better way? Because understand, and this is where I come back to the supply side voodoo Reagan argument. We're told that giving all of the resources, all the money to the very wealthy, they're smart. They know what to do with it. They're going to spend it constructively and building new industries and new jobs and all of this stuff. Did this move us closer? Did this investment by we the people, because we paid for it, he's right. In a brief moment of candor and honesty, he was right. We paid for it. Did this move us any closer to something positive? Did this move us forward? And I would argue, no, it didn't. And what we've ended up with is just a rich guy who, hey, look what I did. And look what I'm going to do again. Now, was it great that, the 92-year-old, I think 92-year-old was it great that happened? Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool that the 18-year-old kid got to go too, because somebody had a scheduling conflict. They spent $28 million and had a scheduling conflict. Had to catch my kid's soccer game. Sorry, just ruined it. Needed to get my bikini wax. Maybe should have bought trip insurance. I don't know. But something, it's just crazy. And again, what kind of scheduling conflict would make you go, it's only $28 million. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. Quick break. Right back. Stick around.
More American than workers standing up, and the union gives a voice to win. On the Rick Smith Show.